Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello. Welcome to today's live. Hopefully you all can hear me and see me okay. If you can, give me a thumbs up or a yes, we can hear you and see you perfectly fine. All right, wonderful. We're going to wait just 1 or 2 minutes, not too much time, and let some more join in. So while we are waiting for that, you can type in the chat and tell me where you're watching from today. And I will introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Molly. I am a tutor on Cambly. I'm from the US and I live in the state of Tennessee. And my dogs are really hyper this morning. So if you hear some noises, that's what it is. They'll calm down in a minute. All right, let's see. Where's everybody watching from? I see. Let me scroll back up. Bangladesh. Hi, Bangladesh. Someone is watching from Toronto. Sri Lanka. Hi, Sri Lanka. Hello, Japan. Hello, Cambodia. And Indonesia. There are. I see quite a few watching from Sri Lanka today. Welcome, Sri Lanka. Hello, India. Azerbaijan, hello. Pakistan, hi, Pakistan. I know, she's very loud. She's playing. Sacha, the students on Cambly said be quiet. Hello, Italy. Someone's watching from the UK and Vietnam. Bulgaria, hi, Bulgaria. I'm not sure I've ever seen someone watching from Bulgaria. Okay, wonderful. Well, you can keep typing in the chat where you're watching from. Today's live lesson is going to be personal or definite pronouns and indefinite pronouns. Throw some markers at my dog to get her to be quiet. So the title of the video is definite pronouns, but we're going to focus on personal pronouns today, okay? And also indefinite pronouns. Give me one moment. Okay, hopefully she'll quiet down now so you all can hear me clearly. All right. While we're just waiting a few more minutes, can you tell me what is a pronoun? Type it in the chat. Who can tell me what is a pronoun? There's different types of pronouns, more than just the two that we're going to cover today. Today we're just going to focus on personal pronouns and indefinite pronouns. But who can tell me what is a pronoun? What is a pronoun? I'll wait and see. Don't cheat. Don't Google it. Just tap into your brain and type it in the chat. I think it's quiet now, finally. What is a pronoun? Good, I see one right answer. Wait, just one more minute. What is a pronoun? What is a pronoun? Good. So a pronoun is a word that we use to replace a noun, right? It's used, so we have our nouns, but sometimes, or many times, we don't want to keep repeating the same noun as we're speaking. So we use pronouns to replace that noun, right? Now, again, there's different types of pronouns, which we're going to cover 2 of them today. So I see someone said, like I, you, he, she, it, we, they, exactly. That's a personal pronoun that we're going to talk about today. And then we're also going to talk about indefinite pronouns, which there's many that you can see on the chart here. Some of you might have already learned this, so maybe it's a good review. So stay tuned. We're going to have a little quiz at the end to practice. We're going to start off with personal pronouns today. So a personal pronoun is probably one of the first things that you learned when you were studying English and learning your grammar. It's one of the very basic concepts of grammar when we're forming sentences. So as someone mentioned, or a few of you mentioned in the chat, a personal pronoun is like I, me, you, he, she, and so on, okay? So how do we use a personal pronoun? What is it? A personal pronoun is going to take place of a common or proper noun, and it refers to people and things, okay? In other words, a personal pronoun is specific. It's referring to someone or something specific. So you can say personal pronoun, specific, or definite pronoun, specific, okay? It's referring to something specific, not just anything. It's opposite when we get into indefinite pronouns, so we'll get there in just a moment, okay? So we can use personal pronouns in singular or plural, and we also divide them by saying first person, second person, and third person. So as you can see on the chart here, I have that for reference. Our first person pronouns are I and me, singular. Plural, it would be we and us. So if I'm just talking about one person, first person, me, I'm going to use I or me. If I'm talking first person, you and me, I'm going to use we or us. That's plural, okay? Second person, it's the same for singular and plural. It's you for both for second person. And for third person, we're going to use she or her, he or him, or it for singular, okay? That means we're only referring to one person, one girl, or one woman, or one boy, or man, or one object, or animal, okay? And for plural, we're going to use they and them. Now, there are a couple of exceptions that we'll cover in just a moment. First, let's just look at a couple of examples, okay? Some quick examples. We'll move through this really quickly because I think most of you know this. It's probably a review. So, for example, I have a new computer, okay? In this sentence, my noun is a computer. I want to keep talking about that computer, but instead of saying, I have a new computer, the computer is a MacBook, I'm going to replace the noun with a pronoun. And what pronoun am I going to use? Computer is an object, it's a thing, and it's singular, so I'm going to use it. I have a new computer, it is a MacBook, okay? Another example would be, Kelly is my best friend. She is a Spanish teacher. So I'm talking about my friend Kelly, okay? She's the noun. And instead of saying Kelly is my best friend, Kelly is a Spanish teacher, I don't want to keep repeating the noun. I'm going to use a personal pronoun to replace that noun. Which one am I going to use? Kelly's one person, it's singular, and she's a female, so I'm going to use she. Kelly is my best friend. She is a Spanish teacher. All right, easy enough? Another thing about personal pronouns is that they can be used as a subject pronoun in a sentence or an object pronoun in a sentence. So I'm going to show you some examples. So personal pronoun as a subject pronoun, I love coffee. If I'm talking about myself, I'm not going to say Molly loves coffee. I'm talking about me, so I'm going to use I. I love coffee. Now, if I want to have an object pronoun, coffee's my subject. Coffee wakes me up. Here, me is an object pronoun. Let's switch out the pronouns. Let's say, who do we have in our chat? Let me use someone as an example. I see someone named Abdul. Abdul, I'm going to use you as an example. Abdul loves coffee. So what do I replace Abdul with? It's one person. I'm assuming it's a male. We can say he loves, we need to add an S, he loves coffee. Now let's use Abdul in this too. It wouldn't be me. Coffee wakes him up, okay? So here it's an object pronoun. Abdul, he loves coffee. Coffee wakes him up. All right. Another example could be, we wake up late. We is my personal pronoun. Maybe I'm talking about my sister and I. Okay, there's two of us. It's first person plural. We wake up late. My sister and I wake up late. That's as a subject pronoun because it comes at the beginning of the sentence. If I want an object pronoun, the alarm didn't wake us, my sister and I, us up. Here, it's an object pronoun. Last example, they went home early. Maybe I'm referring to my best friends, okay? They, because it's plural, they went home early is a subject pronoun because they comes at the beginning of the sentence. If I want it to be the object pronoun, I can say a taxi took them home. All right, these are just some examples. Okay, very good. Now I want to cover just a few side notes. So if you need to watch this back again to catch this, you can. Just something really important about personal pronouns. So obviously my name is Molly, but when I'm talking about myself, I'm always going to use I or me. I'm not normally going to refer to myself as Molly unless I'm introducing myself and saying, hi, I'm Molly. If I'm speaking directly to you, I'm going to use you and not your name, unless we're in a very formal situation where we're introducing ourselves maybe. But if we're just having a conversation, let's say I'm speaking with Abdul, I'm not going to keep referring to him as Abdul. I'm going to refer to him as you, okay? If I'm talking about another person, not you or me, maybe I start with using their name. So let's use Abdul again as an example. Maybe I start by saying Abdul's name, but then as we continue the conversation talking about him, I'm going to replace that with he or him. I'm not going to keep saying Abdul every time I want to talk about him, okay? I'm going to replace it with he or him. A couple of other important notes. So in the US, in most of English, I believe, in most English-speaking countries, there's a few exceptions. So when we're talking about a single thing, we almost always use it, okay? A single thing, a single object or thing, we're going to use it. However, sometimes when we refer to an animal, we're going to use he or him or she or her. Not always, but especially when we're talking about a pet. And I had an interesting conversation with a Cambly student one time because I was talking about my noisy dogs and I used she and he. And so he asked, oh, do you use that for animals, for your dogs? So yes, for pets, we know that it's a boy or girl, so we refer to our pets as he or she. Maybe if it's a random animal, we can use it because we don't know. But pets, we use he or she. All right. Okay. And for one person, let's say, I don't know about in your country, but in the United States, some names can be a name for a male or a female. Okay. And maybe we just hear the name, but we haven't met the person. So if we don't know if they're male or female, if we're not sure, what pronouns do we use? So let's say, for example, a name in the US that can be used for a male or a female, Jordan. Jordan is used for a male name and a female name. Let's say I know I have a meeting with Jordan, but I've never met them before, and I don't know if it's a male or a female. In that case, I can just say he or she, I have a meeting with him or her because I'm not sure, or we can use they and them. If we're not sure if it's a boy or girl, male or female, we can also use they or them. I have a meeting with them because I haven't met them yet to know if they're male or female. Okay? All right. I think that's it for personal pronouns on what we're going to cover. I know that was really quick, but we're going to spend a little bit more time on indefinite pronouns because there's a little bit more to cover on that. Before we go on, does anybody have any questions about personal pronouns? If you do, type them in the chat. I'm a little sick, so if I sound different today, I'm sorry. The weather is changing to winter here in Tennessee, so it's getting really cold, and I always get sick around this time of the year. All right, let's see if anyone has any questions before we move to indefinite pronouns. And keep in mind, if you joined in late or if you didn't catch something I just said, this will be uploaded to Cambly's YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it again, take any screenshots you need. Okay, good question. Which pronoun will we use instead of a country? Okay, let me think about that. So we can use they and them because we typically refer to, or we could use it. So it depends. If we're referring to the country itself, maybe we use it. But a lot of times when we're referring to a country, we are referring to the people in that country. So we would use they and them. But the country itself, it. Or they. More commonly, they. I'm trying to think of examples. Like, let's say I want to talk about some laws that just changed in the United States. I could say, oh, did you hear about the laws that they changed? Because most of the time I'm referring to the people in that country. I'm drinking coffee, yes. How did you know it's coffee? It might be tea in my cup. If you tuned into my other lessons, you probably know I have a coffee addiction or caffeine addiction. Okay, any other questions? Let's see. Okay, so this person in Bangladesh, you use her. And actually, that's a good point. Sometimes people like to refer to their country as a gender, so her. I think I've heard people refer to the United States as her before. But for the most part, we're going to use, maybe it or they or them. I'm drinking coffee. I should be drinking tea since I'm sick. Okay, if you have any other questions that I didn't cover, please type them in the chat. We're going to move on to indefinite pronouns. So remember again, personal pronouns are specific. They are referring to a specific person or thing, okay? Remember that word, specific. Now, on the other hand, when we move to indefinite pronouns take a place of a noun, but it does not refer to a specific person or thing. So personal pronoun is referring to something specific. Indefinite pronoun is referring to something that's not specified. It's not specific. It's general. It's vague, okay? So we don't know the exact person. We're not talking about one person in particular or one thing in particular, all right? So there are a lot of indefinite pronouns. We're not going to go through every single one today because of time, but I do have them up here on a chart, so we're just going to go through them really quickly, and then we're going to practice a little bit as well. There are some more in-depth lessons for certain indefinite pronouns. Maybe in the future, I can do another live where we focus on just a few of these and the difference between them. But for today, it's going to be more of a general overview, okay? So again, indefinite pronouns refer to something that's not specific, not a specified person or thing, all right? Most important thing to remember. So indefinite pronouns, we also have singular and plural, and then we have some that can be used for singular or plural. They can be both, okay? So I'm going to read this really long list. So for our singular indefinite pronouns, we have anyone, anybody, and something really common that you'll see on these is that they end with one or buddy. So anyone, anybody, that's referring to people, okay? Anyone, anybody, anything. So thing, obviously, we're going to use when we're referring to a thing or an object. Each, either, everybody, everyone, or everything. So everybody and everyone we use for people, everything we use for an object. Neither, nobody, no one, nothing, one, somebody, someone, something. Okay? So I know it looks like a lot, but many of them are the same thing. So anyone, anybody, anything. Someone, somebody, something. All right? So they're pretty easy to memorize, even though it looks like a lot of words. For plural indefinite pronouns, we're going to use both, few, many, or several. Both refers to two things, okay? So for example, I have 2 dogs. Both of my dogs were so noisy this morning. I'm referring to both of them. They were both so noisy. So I'm referring to the 2 of them. Few can be 3 or more. Few's not a lot. It's just a few. It's a smaller number. It's more than 2, but probably less than 10, okay? Many we use when there's a larger number, maybe like 20 to 30 to 50 to 100, depends on what we're talking about. And several is a little less than many. For example, I have several chickens. I have 7 chickens, so that would be several. Maybe if I only had 3 or 4 chickens, I would say I have a few chickens, but I have several. All right. And then for indefinite pronouns that can be used as singular or plural, all, any, most, none, or some. Okay? All right. So again, indefinite pronouns can also be used as a subject pronoun and an object pronoun like we looked at with personal pronouns. So we're just going to look at a couple of examples really quickly just so you get the idea. So the first one, everybody enjoyed the concert. Okay, I'm not referring to one specific person. I'm just being very general. Everybody enjoyed the concert. If I want to be specific and just talk about maybe myself and my best friend, what would I use? If I want to be specific and talk about myself and my best friend, what personal pronoun would I use instead of everybody? Does anybody know? We enjoyed the concert because then I'm specifying who enjoyed the concert, myself and my friend, right? But everybody, I'm not being specific. The next example, I called the office, but nobody answered. Okay, nobody is just general. I'm not specifying a specific person in the office. Maybe I don't know who is in the office, and so I'm just calling and hoping that someone or somebody answers, but no one specifically. Maybe if I'm trying to call my boss is someone specific. I called the office, but he didn't answer. He didn't answer. Okay, one more example. Someone knocked on my door last night. Someone, but I didn't know who it was, right? I have no idea who it was, so I can't be specific. Someone, no clue who it was. Maybe my mother texted me after that, and so then I know the specific person. It was my mom. So my mom, she knocked on my door last night, but I was already asleep. Okay, so indefinite pronouns are not specific. We're not referring to any specific thing or person. Okay, there's also some special rules that we're going to cover about indefinite pronouns, the same as we did with personal pronouns. So the first thing is when we refer back to an indefinite pronoun, we normally use a plural pronoun. So let me give you another example of that. Let me repeat that one more time. When we refer back to an indefinite pronoun, so we've already used an indefinite pronoun in our sentence and we want to refer back to it, we're going to use a plural pronoun. An example of that would be, everybody enjoyed the concert, And then I want to refer back to everybody. They all stood up and clapped. Okay? Everybody enjoyed the concert. I would use they now. They stood up and clapped. Because I'm not going to use this twice. Everybody enjoyed the concert. Everybody stood up and clapped. If I'm referring back to it again, I'm going to use a plural pronoun. Something else very important, which I know can be a very common mistake as an English learner. When you have a negative clause, we're going to use pronouns with no, not pronouns with any. So remember the any is anybody, anyone, anything. We're going to use the no pronouns. So nobody, no one, nothing, okay? For example, I wouldn't say anybody didn't come. So this is a negative sentence, a negative clause. This is incorrect grammar. We wouldn't say anybody didn't come. It doesn't make sense, okay? We're going to use the no pronouns for negative clauses. Nobody came. Nobody came. Not anybody didn't come. Another example of that. I actually messed up this example. It should be anything. I put nothing twice, but this still doesn't make sense. I can't use two negatives. I can't use a negative pronoun and a negative verb. So nothing didn't happen is also wrong, but I also couldn't say anything didn't happen. That's incorrect grammar. You can't say anything didn't happen. We don't use the any pronouns in a negative clause. Instead, I would say nothing happened. Nothing happened. All right, is that clear? No any's in negative clauses. No anybody, anything, anyone in the negative clause. We're always going to use the nothing, nobody, no one. Any questions on that? I'm trying to wait and see in the chat if anybody has any questions. No? Okay. Another thing about indefinite pronouns. So when we have an indefinite pronoun and we want to make it possessive, we can add an apostrophe S, okay? An apostrophe S to make it possessive. For example, I think I just have one example because this is pretty easy. Maybe you already know this. They were staying in somebody's house, okay? So somebody is being possessive, right? The house that owns the house. So we're going to add an apostrophe S to the indefinite pronoun. They were staying in somebody's house. All right? That one's pretty easy. So anytime you need a possessive pronoun, even indefinite pronouns, you can add an apostrophe S to the end of that. And the last little rule we're going to cover, when we're using indefinite pronouns and we want to refer to other people or things, we're going to add the word else, E-L-S-E, after indefinite pronouns. And maybe you've heard native speakers use this and you didn't know what they meant. So if we're using an indefinite pronoun and we want to refer to another thing or another person, we're going to use else. For example, my best friends came, I cut the word out. My best friends came to the party, but no one else. My best friends came to the party. Maybe I had a birthday party. My best friends came to the birthday party, but no one else. So I could also say no one else came, but we don't have to have another verb. But no one else. So I'm just referring to other people. Kind of sad. No one else came to my birthday party. Only my best friends. The other example. I think this is someone else's coat. I think this is someone else's coat. So maybe I'm leaving a party and I put a coat on. It's not mine. I think it's someone else's. I'm referring to another person, okay? And this is possessive, so we add apostrophe S. Why? Because the coat belongs to that person. I think this is someone else's coat. Maybe another example could be, maybe you've already learned about all of the pronouns, and so you tuned into today's live lesson and you thought, oh, I've already learned this. I'm going to study something else. I've already learned about pronouns. I'm going to study something else. So you're referring to another thing, okay? A lot of times too, maybe we ask, if I tell you all, I love coffee so much, I drink it every morning. And I ask anyone else or anybody else, I'm referring to others. Does anybody else love coffee? Because I already said that I do. Okay, let's review that again, everything really quickly, and then we're going to do a little bit of practice, and then we're going to finish for today. So it was a pretty quick lesson. Usually my lessons are really, really long, and I know some of you tune in late at night, so we're going to keep today's short and sweet and quick. And if you think of any other questions, type them in the chat. If you want more specific lessons on these, you can comment on the video, and maybe we can do that again in the future, okay? All right, so again, personal pronouns, remember, are specific. They're referring to a specific person or thing. They can be singular or plural. So we use first person, second person, and third person. We have subject and object pronouns for both of these, subject and object pronouns. When we're referring to a pet, maybe we use he or she instead of it because it's our pet and we know the gender. If we don't know a person's gender, we've never met them and we don't know if it's a he or she. In a sentence, we can use he or she or him or her. I have a meeting with him or her. Or we can use they or them. I have a meeting with them, even though it's one person because we're not sure the gender, okay? Indefinite pronouns are not specific, okay? So we're not referring to a specific person or thing. It's vague, it's general. There's a lot more indefinite pronouns than there are personal pronouns. Many more to memorize. It can be singular or plural. It can also be used as the subject or the object in the pronoun. We never use the any pronouns in a negative clause, okay? So remember this example. We have a negative sentence. We're not going to use anybody, anyone, or anything. We're going to use the no pronouns. Nobody, no one, nothing. Nobody came. Or I would say nothing happened, not anything didn't happen, or nothing didn't happen. All right? When we have a possessive indefinite pronoun, we add an apostrophe S, okay? Somebody's dog was noisy. That was mine. Somebody's, so I do apostrophe S, dog, because it's possessing the dog, right? Was noisy. All right? If we want to refer to another thing or person in indefinite pronouns, we're going to add the word else after it, okay? So I gave those examples. My best friends came to the birthday party or to the party, but no one else, only the friends, okay? I think this is someone else's coat. Do we need to cover anything else? Probably. I'm sure you all have lots of questions about indefinite pronouns too. So whenever we're referring to something, another thing or person, we're going to add else after the indefinite pronoun. All right, let me check and see if there's questions, and then we're just going to do 3 practice examples. Yes, coffee is great for the brain. I actually didn't even drink half of mine. Let's see if you have any questions. Yes, as someone asks indefinite pronouns like neither or either, so yes, both of those are up here. They're singular indefinite pronouns, either and neither are indefinite pronouns. Yep. Any other questions? No? Are you guys ready to practice? So I've got three examples. One of them has only one answer, like one correct answer, and the other two have more than one right answer. So you can be a little creative with it, okay? You're going to be using either personal pronouns or indefinite pronouns. You have to decide, okay? So the first example. Everybody has completed blank test. So everybody is actually an indefinite pronoun. That's what we're starting our sentence with. But we have another one here. So what are we going to use here? Everybody has completed blank test. Which one? Maybe I need to move. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. Ignore that one. Okay, skip that. I made a mistake. It's because I didn't finish my coffee. Skip that example. Okay, let's do the next example. All right, the earthquake destroyed blank houses. It was there, right? But there is possessive. So I wanted to focus on they and them, and I made a mistake. I was supposed to focus on they and them. But yes, you still got it right. Many of you said there. Okay, let's move to the next example. The earthquake destroyed blank houses. So for this example, there's more than one right answer. So I want you to either choose a personal pronoun, an indefinite pronoun, and tell me if it is personal or indefinite, okay? It can't be any of the pronouns because some of them don't make sense, but this does have more than one right answer. The earthquake destroyed blank houses. The first thing to identify maybe is houses is plural. So you know you need to use plural pronouns. Maybe I need to get out of your way so you can see. I'm going to hold this here so you can see the charts. The earthquake destroyed blank houses. Again, there's more than one right answer, but it does need to be a plural pronoun. You can use personal or indefinite for this. Good, 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 good. I see. Yeah, okay. So maybe we could say the earthquake destroyed everyone's houses, or so that would be plural. Actually, that would be singular with an apostrophe S because it's possessive. Or the earthquake destroyed several houses. We could use several. The earthquake destroyed several houses. Good. Somebody said many. The earthquake destroyed many houses. Good. Someone else said several. The earthquake destroyed all houses. The earthquake destroyed our houses. Very good. The earthquake destroyed our houses. Good. Okay, good job. So again, this one just depends on the context of the sentence. And so if we say the earthquake destroyed many houses, it's indefinite. Why? Because many is not specific. The earthquake destroyed many houses. It's just a general statement. We're not referring to any specific house. But if we say the earthquake destroyed our houses, it's a personal pronoun. It's referring to a specific house, okay? Our house, it's a specific one. Is that clear, the difference? The earthquake destroyed our houses is specific. The earthquake destroyed several houses or many houses. It's general. We're not referring to specific ones. Okay, let's do one more example. Oh, I did run a little longer. We're at 40 minutes. Okay. Again, there's more than one right answer to this. So this is a subject pronoun. Okay, you can choose personal or indefinite. Blank wanted to tell him he was wrong. Blank wanted to tell him he was wrong. There's more than one right answer, but you can't just use any of the pronouns. Some of them are wrong answers. Okay, good. I wanted to tell him he was wrong. Good. They wanted to tell him he was wrong. So these are personal ones. She wanted to tell him he was wrong. Good. Good. No one wanted to tell him he was wrong. That's the one I was thinking. No one or nobody wanted to tell him he was wrong. So that's an indefinite pronoun. Maybe it was a very strict teacher who made a mistake, but nobody wanted to tell him he was wrong because they were scared of him. Someone wanted to tell him he was wrong. Good. We don't specify who, but we just generally say someone, but I don't know who. Good. They wanted to tell him he was wrong. Good. Everyone wanted to tell him he was wrong. Maybe everyone wanted to tell him he was wrong, but nobody did. They all stayed quiet. Okay, very good. We're gonna end here. I know that was a quick lesson. Typically, I give more examples, but for time today, we did a fewer examples. So maybe after this lesson ends, if you want to go back and rewatch it, you can give some more examples in the comments of the video. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope this was a good review, or maybe you learned something new about personal pronouns or indefinite pronouns. For those of you who are not on Cambly already, I'll just tell you really quickly, Cambly is a great way for you to practice or learn English online with a native speaker. We have wonderful tutors from many different countries with many different accents and tons of knowledge to help you out. And you can call them just with the touch of a button on your phone or your computer. So if you're interested, you can sign up for a free trial, try out Cambly, see if you like it. That way you can improve your English and build your confidence as well. That is it for today. If you have any other questions, you can type them in the comment section of the uploaded video after this ends. And I will see you all again in 2 weeks for a different topic, okay? I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.